Shumai guys, welcome back to the Life to the Full podcast, the podcast that helps you make the most of your time here on Earth. My name's Dav Morse and I'm your host. It is my job to encourage, to inspire, to educate, to help you live life to the full. Today we are looking at a topic, why I do not want to retire. Some people might look at me and think, why don't you want to retire? Or, I thought you already had retired. What do you call yourself now if you're not working in a classroom? Well, that and so much more today on the Off the Cuff Life to the Full episode. If you can't wait to retire, if you are looking towards retirement as the goal, as the end, then I would suggest you are doing something wrong. What does retirement promise us? Retirement promises us time where we can sit back and relax and not have to go to work. It promises time to do all of the things that we wanted to do whilst we were still working, but we couldn't because we didn't have time for it. It promises us time where we can invest in our relationships with our significant other, maybe. We can go travelling with them, spend more time with them, maybe even see the grandkids more, develop our relationship with them. But waiting until retirement to do all these things is where so many of us are going wrong. I'd even go as far as to say that waiting for retirement and relying on your state pension or even any other pension is a big mistake. If you are under the age of 40, and I count myself in that, then I would say the likelihood of getting a state pension which is anywhere near an amount which will give you a full and meaningful life is vanishingly small. My philosophy on work is that work should be done to contribute to society. It should be something that we get enjoyment out of. It should be something that we get satisfaction and a sense of meaning out of. So in which case, why would we want to retire? The only reason that we would want to retire is because we are not living the life that we want to right now. So let's take a look at what the alternatives are. What I'm actually doing. I am building a life that I do not want to retire from. I have seen firsthand my father and my father-in-law, both in their 70s, still... Actually, sorry, Nick, you're not quite there yet, are you? Next year, maybe the year after. But late 60s and still pursuing their life's work, still pursuing the thing that brings them joy, still pursuing and serving and providing for the needs of others, contributing to society, well past traditional retirement age. And when I was a teacher, I looked at that and thought, I just don't have the same passion for my work life as these guys do. I can't imagine myself still here for the next 40 years. So I had to do something about it. I started building a financial plan. I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just trying to make good financial decisions in the hope that one day something would come up so that I could leave teaching and maybe become financially independent one day so that I could just stop working altogether. And as I have gone on that journey, I have realized that financial independence is just that. It is just a journey. And every step you go along the journey is a step towards more freedom, greater freedom, more freedom to do the things that you want to do. Becoming financially independent gives you all of the options. The journey opens up more opportunities. At the beginning of your financial independence journey, when you are relying on every paycheck and you spend every pound or dollar of that paycheck, you don't have options. You don't have the option to walk away from what you're doing. You don't have the option to do work that is meaningful to you, work that you enjoy, because you are stuck in that cycle of always needing a paycheck. So as you build towards something, as you start building your financial freedom pot, your financial independence fund, then you gain more and more options as you go, which means you could go part-time at work and maybe spend a day exploring what would life be like in retirement? What would life look like if I could do what I wanted to do? Or maybe you could take a less stressful job, or a job that you would enjoy more because you have that financial buffer. I don't want to retire because I don't want my mental health to suffer. Some people would say that work is the cause of their mental health issues. Work is the cause of their strife and their strain and their stress. But what if you could design life so that work was not that? What if you could design life so that your work was the source, or one of the sources, of your mental health, of your enjoyment of life? What if work could become something that you loved doing? When I think about retiring from work, I think about retiring from a life that I was maybe unhappy with, or not living to its full potential, not making the most of. So when I think about designing a life that I don't want to retire from, I want to make sure that I am designing in intentionally relationships into my life, mentoring relationships, contributing to society, even running this podcast. I also want to contribute spiritually. I want to live with purpose beyond me. I want to support others in their faith journey. I want to support others in exploring spiritual things, exploring what is it like to think about God in a different way. What if this is not the end? I don't want retirement to be a point in time where I go from not living my best life to living what I always imagined was my best life. I want to explore on the journey, starting from now, what does it mean to live a life true to myself? What does it mean to live a life where I can find satisfaction in my work, satisfaction in all of my life? What does it look like to design a life where work is play and play is work? And if you were to look at me, you'd think, is he working or is he playing? To me, I want to be doing both. The only reason that you'd want to retire is because your current life isn't exactly how you want it to be. If your current life is exactly how you want it to be, why would you stop that? Why would you do something else? Why would you turn off that ideal lifestyle? So the real question isn't, when can I retire? The real question is, how can I design my life now so that I never want to retire? Seeing retirement as the goal, or seeing retirement as an escape, reveals a dissatisfaction with your current life. What's stopping you from designing a life that you don't want to retire from right now? What is stopping you from doing work that is meaningful and purposeful? When I quit teaching, it was just a step towards building the lifestyle that I wanted. It was only a step towards building time freedom. It was only a step towards building a life where I could have time for my hobbies, for the things that I love to do, where I could create, where I could give back to society in a different way. Hopefully in a way which impacts even more lives. In some senses, still being a teacher would have been much easier from a financial point of view, because I always spent less than I earned. I always put the spare bit towards some kind of vague financial goal of maybe I don't have to do this forever. And I've traded that security for a life which is full of adventure, a life which depends on God's provision much, much more. It means that I am spiritually more alive to realize that God is the provider of everything for me. I feel more fulfilled. I feel more creative. I feel that this lifestyle, despite its drawbacks in some ways, is a life closer to the one that I don't want to retire from. I haven't reached that point yet where everything I do is exactly what I want. But I'm working towards it, and that couldn't have happened if I was still teaching. So how do you go about building a life that you don't want to retire from? How can you design your ideal lifestyle? Firstly, I would start saving and investing, paying off debt, making it financially reasonable to be able to start pursuing your dreams. Make it a priority to start putting money aside every month towards a lifestyle change. Call it a lifestyle design bucket. Open up your banking app, and if your banking app allows it, have an extra pot where you can put money towards new life. With financial freedom comes choices about what you work on, choices about what work you do. If you are living paycheck to paycheck, you don't have an option about what you can do. You have to earn a living. You have to make rent. You have to pay your bills and buy your food. But if you can start eking out a little bit of money, it starts you on that journey towards exploring different possibilities of the world of work. Start cultivating your relationships now. Don't wait until retirement to start thinking about who you're going to spend time with. What are you going to do? Don't wait until retirement before you start addressing your mental health to make sure that you're in tip-top mental condition. Start doing it now. I loved my interview with Gillian Johnsrud a couple of episodes ago, where she talked about mini retirements, and she talked about how waiting 40 years to retire once is a really bad idea, because not only is it a real grind to get to 40 years of work with no real break, but also you don't know what it is you want to do. You have no idea because you haven't built that skill set up, that experience set up of things that you want to do. And so she encouraged us to work for 23 months at a time and take a month-long, or at least a month, mini retirement. That is a great philosophy, a great idea, and it's certainly a starting point. And for some people, that is enough to give them the energy to go back to work, to do the thing that they do day to day, and it's not so much of a grind. But if you are in a job where it's a grind, if you are in a lifestyle that you are feeling, this is not what I want to do for the next 30 or 40 years, then start thinking about these things. Start thinking about, what is it I would do if I didn't have to retire? For me, creating content like this is something that I always want to do. Have I made enough of a living off this yet? No. But I know that it's bringing me contentment, and if it's building up a body of work which one day might lead to something else, which means that I can live off podcast income, then that would be absolutely fantastic. But I know it's not going to happen if I don't start, if I don't give it a shot. I'd love you to hit subscribe or follow on this podcast so you don't miss another episode. I'll be back with you very soon. Till next time, peace out.